Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dream Big Talent Trailblazers series. I'm so delighted to have my guest here, and I'd like to welcome Phil Hendrickson. Hi, Phil.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. Phil joins us from Seattle. Obviously, I'm here in Qatar, and as you know, the Dream Big interview series is all about connecting with talent trailblazers all over the world. And just a quick intro with Phil before we get started. Phil is a corporate recruiter who's been in the business and is really known for his talent acquisition strategies. He is working currently with a startup called Qualify, very exciting times in this space. And he has previous experience with Starbucks and Apple. You know, we all know these are leading, innovative organizations that have really taken talent to the next level. So Phil, it's the morning, it's Friday. How's your days planned?
It's still a busy day for me, but I'm looking forward to a long holiday weekend. Monday is Memorial Day, and I'm going to be doing some activities with my children to remind them about the service to our country that our veterans and servicemen and women gave. So it's an important weekend here in the U.S.
Fantastic, and yes, we will all be thinking, around the world about that special day for your people and for your country.
Thank you.
So, firstly, I was going to ask you, Phil, what inspired you to come on the Dream Big interview series, especially for the talent trailblazers?
The reason is because the way you're talking about talent acquisition, you're inspiring companies and governments to think differently about talent acquisition and talent retention. And if there are people out there who are interested in innovating in this space, I'd be delighted, I'd be honored to lend my perspective. So I salute you for the work that you're doing in helping people think differently and innovate in the talent space.
Thank you so much, Phil. And it's really important that any of my guests that come onto the show are really in that mindset. Because, we've been in HR and talent, myself I'm coming up to 15, years, and I've seen a lot of changes. And so I'm really inspired by people like you who have been there and you've seen the change, and now you're part of the new way of thinking in terms of the talent space. So give us a sort of elevator pitch of what you've been through in the HR and the talent space and where you are today.
Yes, the elevator speech about me would be this. I've been in recruiting for many years like you. I started in exec recruiting, and I took my experience and my interest in recruiting in-house and then helped companies grow their talent acquisition abilities and their sourcing capabilities. And today, what I do is I help companies with their talent strategies and brand-based recruiting. This is new in that we're helping companies lead with their brand and create a better candidate experience.
And all of those words that you're using are so dear to my heart. Candidate experience. We could talk for hours on this topic. What you're talking about, the brand-based piece, the new bit of work that you're doing. Tell us more about that.
Yes. Well, happy to. The challenges that we see, and I talk to companies every day. Traditionally, we've invited thousands of people to look at our jobs, to apply for them, and they disappear into a black hole, and the candidates feel that their efforts and their enthusiasm for the companies, for those brands, are not recognized. Every day I talk to companies that sit on hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of candidates that are stale, that are dormant, that have been there for sometimes years. And they struggle trying to come to terms with what to do with them. They know that there's a lot of talent there, and yet they have no way of uncovering whether those candidates are still interested in them, who they are. So I work with companies, large and small, to help lead with their brand, to help engage with candidates, and not in a transactional model. For decades now, recruiting has been about transactions. It's been about jobs, recs, and recruiters have been in the middle of a blizzard of candidates who are applying for particular roles based on titles, based on imperfect information, and recruiters are trying to balance a wave of candidates that are sometimes minimally qualified, applying to jobs that are really not appropriate for them, and they're trying to match and connect them together. And we think there's an opportunity to think differently. We think there's an opportunity to make it easy for candidates to introduce themselves to companies, and to learn about candidates, to develop insights about them long before we begin talking about a particular job or a particular role. In this way, you create a different candidate experience in which candidates feel they're recognized, they're able to introduce themselves, they're able to put their best foot forward, they're actually feeling engaged. And the job conversation, the fit conversation, comes later. The company benefits from creating a unique, embracing experience, and also companies are able to reach talent that they miss today because they don't enforce an application process first. When you tell someone, in order to get to me, you must first spend a half an hour filling out an application, the people who don't do that are sometimes the best talent in the marketplace. If you make it easy for talent to connect with you, they can connect with you in minutes from their iPhone, from their mobile device. And then invite them into a conversation. And in that conversation, you're learning about where they fit within your organization. You have access to a much broader spectrum of talent, and the talent is better about their engagement with you and your company.
Wow. And so the question I have for you then, Phil, is which organizations are really embracing this way of thinking?
Companies that empower their recruiters to be their best. And what I mean by this is, in today's corporate recruiting departments, many recruiters feel they're doing a terrible job. They understand that there are literally hundreds of applicants for each job that many times don't get the proper attention and the touch that recruiters feel is their responsibility. So recruiters tell me they're not doing their best. And they're not doing their best because they don't have good leaders. They have too much work on their plate. They aren't empowered with the best tools and training. So the best companies today are looking at the recruiter workload, and they're reducing it. They're saying, what is the appropriate amount of requisitions that our recruiters need to handle every day?
Right.
They understand that recruiters who have more time provide not only a better candidate experience and not only represent the brand better, but are also better able to connect to diverse candidates and the hardest to fill positions with the most difficult to find talent. So when you free up recruiters to be great, you end up having a higher performing recruiting organization, and you're able to connect with diverse and hard to find talent better. Companies are succeeding today that also understand the connection between the candidate, those hundreds, thousands, sometimes millions of candidates are also your customers.
Absolutely.
And there's actually a reason, there's actually a business case to be made for treating those candidates better, because better candidate experience feels like a better customer experience, which equals a more warm feeling towards that brand.
Absolutely.
In other words, do you feel more or less compelled to shop with a company, to pay money for their services, if they've treated you poorly, or they've treated a member of your family or a friend who's applied to a job at your company and never heard back? I think companies are performing well today and are leading that think differently about where recruiting and the talent acquisition function sits within the company.
Yes. So tell me your view. Tell me your view about where does talent and recruitment sit in the future of organizations who are truly transforming how they recruit?
Marketing.
Great.
Very simply, that's where I think we sit. We in recruiting, and myself as a recruiter, have always said, I'm not HR. I am a outward-looking professional. I am constantly having conversations with people outside of our company. I train recruiters to be good at finding and engaging with candidates that are outside of a company, learning about the talent marketplace, about competitive intelligence, learning what candidates think about our job, our brand, our roles. So it's an external function, and it's a function that is marketing a company in many ways. But mostly it's about marketing the company's employee value proposition, about why it's a great place to work. And obviously in recruiting, we're marketing opportunities, roles, and the ability for candidates to come and make a difference on a new team. So I see recruiting as a marketing function. The more and more I look at the recruiting function today, it's a digital marketing function. We exist, our profiles exist on digital social channels. People are looking at our profiles, at us, at our roles on mobile devices, on computers every day. We are digital brand marketing entities, and we need to get used to it. We've come, and you've seen the transformation as well. We've come from organizations that were focused on websites, which were basically just brochures that were stuck on the web. And now our websites are being connected to on digital channels, social channels. Our profiles are being looked at tens of thousands of times by people who don't work at our companies. So recruiters understand this and need to get companies and hiring managers and business professionals to understand that we're all visible. We're all being looked at every day. And recruiting is a way to connect with people and with talent in a digital marketing.
Right. I love your thinking. I love that dream big thinking, which actually is, totally aligned to exactly what a recruiter does. They are the brand ambassador.
Yes.
They are the brand ambassador of the organization that they represent, the values.
Yes. And I'll say one more thing. Companies that are succeeding today are also connecting recruiting with brand. Forward-thinking companies realize that recruiters are marketers and that they had better become very well aligned with what the corporate company brand is, because recruiters are selling it every day, whether they like it or not. People are looking at them. They are seeing them as brand ambassadors. Recruiters are very active digitally because they need to be, the same way that marketers are. So forward-thinking companies are putting the brand function closer to recruiting.
Right. And, the corporate side of things, we've, as you and I have lived in this corporate world, we love the corporate animal that it is, and have been part of some big transformations in terms of, the digital side of recruitment. So what about governments? What do they need to do more around people, talent? What role do you think that they play in enabling talent? Let's talk about in the States. What needs to happen more from a government perspective to really help and move this to where we need it to be?
Good question. And the government in the U.S. Is and has always been active in inspiring companies and incentivizing companies to think differently and to do things differently. I think governments also employ lots of people, so need to think the way companies do. But to the extent that governments can inspire and incentivize, I think they should focus on what companies are doing well to put people back to work. I'll give you an example in the United States, and this is an area of great passion for me. Veterans, the returning veterans who are entering the workforce. This is a challenge for companies, and the government is very active and passionate about helping companies understand the value that veterans bring to the workforce, and incentivizing companies to go to great lengths to understand veteran talent and to engage with them and hire them. Governments can inspire companies to think differently about not only veterans and diverse segments, but also women. I know that you do a lot of international work, and women make up more than half of the workforce, and in many places are underrepresented at companies and in the marketplace. So I believe that governments have a duty to help inspire companies to be their best, and hiring all segments of the talent population. And lastly, retention.
Yes.
We in recruiting spend a lot of time and effort at being good at finding and engaging with talent. And many times recruiting brings talent into a company, and the talent that they found is excited. They are anticipating the dream that the recruiter sold. We are recruiting as marketers are talking about why the company is great, why the opportunity is going to be better for them. This is all about a promise, and it's up to the company to deliver on that promise, to be that great company, to be that that place where the candidate's future dreams and aspirations will grow and develop. And many times companies don't do well at retaining talent. And that's why I'm excited to do a film about retention coming up in June, which is focused on what are the best strategies that companies are using today to keep the talent that they've worked so hard to find and to recruit. And it's not a cookie cutter solution. What keeps talent in one company may not keep it in another. What keeps you inspired with your work every day may not be the same for me or for someone who's younger. women, men, people who are older or younger see their life aspirations differently, and companies need to be very nimble at retaining talent, whether it's developing them, whether it's flexible work spaces, whether you name it. There are lots of opportunities, and that's why I'm excited to explore what the best companies are doing to retain talent. Because as you and I have spoken, we're spending a lot of effort to develop technology and tools and techniques and recruiting teams to find talent. And it's a shame that once found, the talent does not feel inspired to stay.
Yes.
And I think in 2015 and into 2016, we're going to see a lot of pressure on companies because the talent marketplace is heating up. And companies should think differently about this. They should employ and inspire and hire people who are great at not only finding but retaining talent. And governments can play a part in inspiring this behavior and incentivizing it.
Fantastic. And just for our viewers, Phil and I actually met in Miami. We were part of an amazing, very innovative documentary, a docufilm called Talent Attraction. And Phil is going on from that. And actually, you've also been part of the technology piece as well. So, yes. Phil, do you just want to fill in our viewers on the next piece, the next film that you're going to be part of, being filmed in Miami again in June?
Yes, you're correct. The first film that I was involved with was about HR technology, and that's about the technology that supports what we do and what we've been talking about, and how it's vitally important because much of the candidate journey is facilitated on technology systems. And then the movie that we were involved with was about the skills and the techniques that professionals employ to connect with great talent and to get them inspired to come work at a company. And this last film that I'm going to be moderating, I'm so excited about, is about retaining talent. It's about what companies do to not only find the best talent, but retain them once they join. In my view, retention begins actually with finding the best talent that's a fit for your organization, the best culture fit. There's a war for fit today, and then understanding how the message, how the engagement works from the finding of the talent to actually the onboarding, the development, and what strategies the best, most innovative companies are using to make sure that talent feels inspired, feels engaged, and feels it can grow and develop with the company. I think that's vitally important for many reasons. It has great costs for companies. There's a great cost in recruiting talent, onboarding, and training, and therefore there's a great loss of revenue, of productivity when talent leaves. So companies need to think differently. They need to understand that there is a great bottom line cost in not retaining talent. And I'm excited to bring leaders from around the world together to talk about what they do to retain talent every day.
Wow. So you're really going through from technology through to the attraction piece to the retention piece. You've been part of that whole series, which is,
yes.
It's a credit to where you come from in terms of your thinking, your passion. I think passion definitely came across when I met you in Miami. I really felt that, and I'm waiting to see obviously the one that we were in together and the ones coming up soon. They're going to be so powerful, and this is what the series is all about. It's all about how do we change the conversation.
Agreed.
So, whether it's in film.
Yes. Chris, who produces these, is inspired and passionate himself about creating a vehicle to inspire others, to educate people, leaders, and companies about what leaders in the industry are doing well, what advice they can receive from them, and just giving back. So it's a different way of informing our industry and sharing our ideas. These docufilms will be free for people to see and share and learn from, and these will grow. They're going to be moving to Europe next year to make it easier for a different set of viewpoints to share their ideas. So I'm very inspired by this work, and I hope that people will learn a few things from them and be inspired to think differently.
And, you know, like you, I'm a big fan of Chris's. I love how he is raising the bar, you know, the quality of what he's creating. It really brings up the quality of the network, the quality of the recruitment and talent professional bodies. Yeah, so we're all saying, you know, this is serious business, this is commercial business, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, great. So Phil, I want to ask you, as part of the Dream Big interview series, what are your Dream Big goals for 2015, 2016?
They're this. Woody Allen once said that you know, if he could make one person laugh, he's done his job. If I can help a few companies think differently about their recruiting process, their recruiting strategies, if I can help several companies engage with candidates better and create a better candidate experience, I'll feel like I've done my job. I'm looking to launch a national veterans community that all companies will be able to use and be introduced to veteran and spouse talent. And that's been one of my passions for a long time. So I see 2015 as being a year in which I will hopefully help change the conversation, will help change the candidate experience in some profound ways, and to help connect veterans with opportunities across corporate America in a profound way. Right. So that's what I'm hoping for in the year ahead.
Wow. And Phil, you're already doing it. I mean, you know, from me to you, your passion, your drive, your commitment to make a difference is already having an impact. You know, when I met you in Miami, you know, I could see, I could hear. And, you know, with the upcoming docufilms that you've got coming up, with what you're doing with Qualify, you know, I really, you know, I commend you for all of your great work. And it is great work, Phil.
Thank you so much.
And so how can our viewers connect with you? What's the best way to connect with you if they want to know more?
Sure. Any way they like. They can connect with me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook.
And what's your Twitter handle?
Island Dad.
Island Dad.
Island Dad, yes. I live on Bainbridge Island, which is just off Seattle. So that's where I am. I'm on a little island here, about a 30-minute ferry ride from downtown Seattle. So
wow.
That should be easy to remember. Island Dad.
That's memorable, Phil. I
Yes.
love it. People will remember it. And that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about, you know, even in the work that you do with around sort of creating those brand recruitment strategies, it's about organizations also being known for something, being known for their values. And, you know, you're known, you know, and you will be known for, you know, making those changes that you want to make, you know, that will fulfill, you know, your dream big goals, your passions, but also giving back.
Yes. I'm happy to lend my perspective to anyone who's interested. I've been doing this for a long time. As you said, I have a lot of passion. I have some experience. I enjoy doing it. It's what gets me up every day. And I'm excited and interested to help anyone who has an interest in talking.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Phil, for joining me. I know it's your early morning. You've got lots on your schedule. I appreciate it, and I know our viewers will appreciate once they connect with you and watch this interview.
Thank you, and thank you so much for what you're doing for the industry.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and we'll connect soon, I'm sure.
All righty. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, you
Bye-bye.
too, Phil. Bye, and happy Memorial Day.
Thank you.